Hello everybody, Huckrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. And today we're going to be talking about the Goblin medium tank. It comes in at 45 tons, roughly 550 battle value for what you get. Tracked vehicle. Alright, it has internal combustion engine. It's a 460. No heat sink. Well, it has 8 heat sinks on it. With an internal combustion engine, it makes you go, what in the heck are they thinking with an internal combustion engine? Well, they are. It carries around, has a turret, has 128 points of armor, which is roughly, 8 tons? And which is fairly respectable for a vehicle that's 45 tons. Gets around. Kind of slow, but it's just a kind of a plugger in a way. It has for weapons a large laser, that's where you get your 8 heat sinks from. Carries around a machine gun with a half ton of ammo, and it has 1 ton of space in the back for infantry bay. So basically, this is kind of like an infantry fighting vehicle that goes around. It's considered a tank, but it is an infantry fighting vehicle. Now, there's, like, if you see the one picture of it, is that it has an SRM on it. It's like, yes, there is a version that has an SRM. But in its standard configuration, it doesn't get too much use, really, in my department because, well, it's just built kind of wrong, I guess. You could easily turn around and, it's like, instead of having the large laser, have a LRM and an SRM on board. Turn it into a missile boat instead, and it'd probably do a better job. But the large laser is kind of respectable out to 15, does some good damage in the Succession Wars. It does have a role to play. It's a slow battle taxi. Well, it's faster than foot slogging infantry that are non-mechanized infantry of any type. So it's kind of like, it's a good battle taxi for them. Throw your infantry squad in the back, foot sloggers, and just go walking around. Instead of walking around, you go run around in the Goblin medium tank. When really it should be called the Goblin APC. That'd be more of a proper nomenclature for this thing. Even though it seems like a lot of times that individuals that designed this game had no idea or understanding of military and what a APC is. It's like too many people see an APC and they think it's a tank. And like, no, that's an APC. That's an armored personnel air carrier. As a tanker in the military myself, I look at it and go, that's not a tank. Take it from an expert. That's not a tank. All right, so pretty much how do you use this thing? Load it up with some foot slogging infantry, which come cheap. Infantry in the game are not that expensive. You can buy a base 1-ton platoon of infantry and throw them in the back of this thing, and you're still under 600 battle value. So, yeah, it's not going to break the bank throwing some infantry around with these things. Now, a lance of them, or you could even outfit a company. Let's say you have a company of these things, 12 of them. That's not overly you're looking at what? Roughly, let's see, how much are these things? Well, it's about 6,000, 7,000. Yeah, 6,000, somewhere in there. Yeah, you're getting up there for battle value for a whole company of these, along with the infantry. So, yeah, let's say it gets about 7,200, somewhere in there. So, yeah, you're throwing some points out there. But if you're in a city fight, and you get these used in a city fight, yeah, they do fairly decently. They're not going to break any speed records, nor will they. They might take a mech or two with them fighting it out, but the odds are A good mech force will, if they can stay out of distance, will take these things apart. So that comes to the next thing. Yeah, you got to use cover and concealment. When you only got a range of 15 as your best weapon, and somebody has LRMs, they're gonna give you a new one. So you probably should keep them out of sight, use cover and concealment, and stay out of the way. And since your infantry is about the best they're going to hope for, is like if you got LRM infantry, their range is pretty short to begin with. So your Goblin medium tanks or APCs are not going to be very far away from their they're shepherding their infantry squads around. So it is to your best benefit to stay close in the hip pocket of your infantry. Now, there are a few different variants of this. Okay, we got now we're getting into the important thing. Coming in at around 100 more battle value, we have the LRM version, which has a pair of LRM 10s. Okay, you remove the large laser. That is 13 tons of space right there. So you can replace it with 2 LRM 10s and 3 tons of ammunition. Not bad. So yeah, you're looking at 36, 18 shots. That's more than enough. You're good. So it kind of turns into a fire support. Now, if you're looking at kind of more of combined arms where you got your infantry and your vehicles and maybe a mech or two hiding out here, this one and a lance, having one of them, this is your fire support vehicle. So you might want to have a version that you might have 2 of them with the large laser. You might have one with the LRM, and then there's another one that has SRM. So you got the SRM version. This one removes the large laser and has 3 SRM, 6 racks, and 60 shots for it. So 4 tons of ammo to go with it, and the battle value is roughly 100 more than the standard. So you could have 2 standard versions, an LRM version and an SRM version, and so say in the lance supporting your infantry. So one could be firing at range, and when somebody gets in close, you can use the large lasers, and when someone gets really in close, along with the infantry range, you got those SRMs to start hammering away at your target. So there is some thought process that can go into designing these things. So there's that. And the LRM and the SRM, they do have their uses instead of having the large laser. Because, like I said, you got 13 tons wrapped up into something that does 8 points of damage, when in all reality, you could put an LRM 20 on this thing and have a couple tons of ammo and still have space tonnage left over to do something else with, even make your infantry bay even bigger, or maybe increase it to a 5.8. So there's those options. Now, this one, the next one comes up is the machine gun version. This is its job is to do anti-personnel work. All right. What it does, it gets rid of the large laser. They're 13 tons. And it replaces it with 5 additional machine guns. So that's 2.5 tons. So that leaves you 10.5 tons left. Puts an SRM-6 on board, fitted into the turret. And it has a 5-ton bay, infantry bay in the back. That you can put a couple, heck, you can throw couple platoons of straight leg infantry in there. You could put a mechanized infantry or platoon in there. You name it. You can start increasing or having a little bit better infantry, fast movers, etc. in the back bay. Going that route. So that's something. And then if you get into a fight where you got infantry facing off against them, you got 6 machine guns. That's a lot. If you hit with all 6 against another infantry squad, that squad disappears pretty quickly. So there you go. All right, now then we have the Goblin infantry support vehicle. All right, This one came out during the clan invasion. This one I'm not so big a fan of in one way and happy in the other, because now the prevalence of fusion engines are everywhere. So you get replace internal combustion engine with a fusion engine. All right. And then you can up the speed of it to a 5.8. It has a 3-ton infantry bay in the back, so you can carry your infantry around. And in addition, it has a large pulse laser, so you got to throw a couple more tons in. Basically, 4 tons is wrapped up in that extra because 3 tons. Sorry, 3 tons. Because you got a larger weapon system and you get an extra heat with it. Then it has an SRM-6, and it also mounts 2 machine guns. So it has, and then it has an anti-missile system on board. And the armor has been up to 9.5 tons of ferrofiber. So now it has a lot more tonnage of armor on board, so it can handle a few more shots, but it comes at a cost. You know, you're looking at another 200 more battle value instead of your typical what you are paying with the 550. So I personally would probably have went with, since you got a fusion reactor on board, I would have maybe gone with an ER large laser instead of the pulse laser. Get the extra range out of it. Yes, because you're using 2 extra tons because you got 10 heat sinks, and then you have your 12 heat, so you got to have 2 more heat sinks with that. But you're wrapping 3 up with the large pulse laser, which only shoots 10. So I'd rather have something that shoots a little farther. Yes, the damage is the same as a regular large laser, but I want the extra range. But, then you're gaining the short range stuff. You got the SRM. Now, the anti-missile system does have some uses, especially if now you're facing off against maybe battle armor. That might be shooting SRMs at you. You might be able to shoot some of those down, come in your direction. I can understand that. But other people might look at it and go, I'd rather have 2 more machine guns. Go that route. It's like instead of having it wrapped up in an anti-missile system, maybe have another machine gun or 2 or 3 to go to town on taking out infantry. Yeah, that's an option. Then there's the Goblin 2 infantry support vehicle. This is another variant of the previous one. It happens during the Jihad. Trades a large pulse laser for an ER medium laser, an LRM-10, and a ton of ammunition. Infantry bay still has 3 tons. So that comes in at roughly almost 300 more battle value. So, yeah, the LRM-10 is useful. The ER medium laser, useful. Actually, you might have been better off in some ways going with maybe a pair of LRM-5s. You take that extra ton and put another ER medium laser on, because you got a fusion engine. You might as well use 2 of them. All right, it's kind of how I look at that. So there you go. And then we got the sealed version. This one has a snub-nosed PPC using a sealed environment specialty to keep it in, like, say, vacuum style combat space, on moons and stuff like that. Has a fusion reactor. So with a fusion reactor, you can be in space on moons, vacuum areas, and not worry about things. Has an SRM-6 anti-missile system with a machine gun. So coming in at roughly 250 more battle value. So yeah, there's that. Having a snub-nosed PPC, nice, like it. Having a fusion reactor, good. SRM, good. Anti-missile system, I talked about how I kind of feel about that. In some ways, it's good and bad. if someone's shooting missiles at you, you like them. And if someone never shoots missiles at you, you're like, that's just wasted space. So there you go. However you want to look at that, it's your mileage may vary. How you, what direction you want to go with that route, but there it is. Now, let me see if I got a version here that I put together over the years. Let's see here. The standard, if you got a Succession War style version, you can always put a fusion reactor on it instead of the internal combustion engine. That saves you up 8 tons, which allows you to put an SRM on board, another machine gun, get its movement up to 5.8, and a little bit more armor, another ton of armor. So you can go that route. That's what I call, you know, let's see, did I put the, yeah, it's got a 3-ton infantry base, so you can full-fledged infantry platoon and back. So I've gone that route before. That's my Succession Wars version by just putting a fusion reactor on. And then there's a, let's see, we got one, it's the Advanced Tech one, if I can find it here. Other than large laser fusion engine, 5.8, large laser machine gun, SRM. And that one has 11 tons without the ferrofibers. And there's a few different versions here you can play with. I guess I don't see the machine gun version. But yeah, that's, oh, here we go. Yeah, now that's, let's see, that one has 3 tons, 170. All right, it's 9.5 tons of ferrofibers. So yeah, you just go the route of putting a fusion engine on it if you can. You have access to one using a 180 style fusion reactor. Kick it up to 5.8, 45 tons. Then you have a large laser, and then you can add an SRM on board, another machine gun, and a little bit more armor. Now, later on, when you move into the more advanced tech, yeah, you might be able to put ferrofibrous armor on board, upping the armor value even more. And you might even consider figuring out how to put like C3 system or something if you want to go the network, make that work. And a lot of that comes at the expense of the anti-missile system. And drop the anti-missile system, that saves up another ½ ton. And I'd probably just give you 3 machine guns, go that route. So you give yourself something more anti-infantry work. Maybe even stick a machine gun in the turret. So you got the turret and you got machine gun facing the front. Maybe even the rear, for that matter. How you want to go that route. So it gives you some options. So that is the Goblin infantry fighting vehicle, or Goblin medium tank, however you want to call it. And interesting vehicle. It has some uses. Be able to use in your campaigns. You can kind of stretch it around and re-manipulate it a little bit from the factory versions, depending on how you want to go the route. But there are some options to play around with. Hope you guys like it. And like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.